Welcome to the SEO Nerd Digital Marketing Podcast, where we interview proven experts in the industry. I'm your host, Michael Friedberg. Today we're interviewing Paul Andre, Search Marketing Global Lead at Workday, and host and producer of the SEO Video Show. Hello everybody, we're with Paul Andre. He is the marketing lead at Workday. How are you doing today, Andre?
What's up, Mike? How you doing?
Good. Sorry I called you Andre.
No. I go by Dre, so that's all good.
Okay, there we go. That's good, man. So tell us about what you do every day.
Every day I log in. I mean, one of those things, we're all remote now, right? So it's like my day-to-day is like an enterprise SEO person who handles 14 international websites for a company called Workday. And then, on the side, on some of my free time, I got the SEO Video Show going on. I have my own digital agency. I have like about 3 clients. I mean, I don't want to, I have a full-time job. I have the show. So it's kind of, you don't want to take on too much that I can do, right? Because you gotta sleep sometime.
Yeah, you don't want to burn out.
No, yeah. But this show is like actually something I have a lot of fun doing. So it's like one of those things where it's like, I'll go on all night just working on it.
Yeah, I can see that. I see you pop up on LinkedIn all the time, and that's cool that it's live.
Yeah, no, I do it live. I think you get better engagement that way, right? Because you can like see who's talking to you, who they can ask questions, and if you could become more connected with the audience. And it's one of those things like I wish I got accepted to LinkedIn Live because I would do a lot more of those because most of my audience is on LinkedIn.
I didn't know that you had to be accepted. I thought you could just throw it on there. That's really cool.
No, yeah, you have to be accepted. So it's one of those things where it's like, I keep pinging them. I'm like, hey, I've been submitting videos every day to my group and all that stuff. And they're like, we're still gotta do a review. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah, it's kind of like trying to get the blue verification from Instagram in a way.
Yeah, but it's crazy because I see some people that don't put out that much videos and they put some stuff, and I guess there might have been like a window where we could have applied and got it in. And we could, but it's all good. I'll still post videos every day, just clips of the show, and I'll just record, I'll just hit the record button like on right now and just post it, right? So it's one of those things where I have this whole studio here and it's set up. So I don't have to set up my camera. I don't have to do anything. I would press on and everything starts recording and I could just quickly upload it.
Good. So tell us about some of the keywords you got going on, ranking on Google search.
Well, one of the biggest keywords I've got for at least Workday, we are a huge HR financial management software company, right? We manage like a lot of the software for big Fortune 50 companies. And one of the biggest ones where like our competition is like Oracle, right? And we're kind of smaller than Oracle. If you know Oracle and SAP, we kind of go against those guys. And we don't have as big budgets as those guys have. So, we turn to organic. And one of the things was like financial management system, right? That cost per click for that keyword is like $80. And
Whoa.
So like our budgets run out when we do it for PPC. And so like within about a month of publishing a blog that was SEO optimized for financial management system, I was able to get ranked number 1 above Oracle, above SAP. And now we're like saving so much money through like PPC. And then, like for fun things, like I am ranking number 1 for YouTube ranking factors. As you know, like I just started this show on YouTube. So I'm fascinated with everything. I'm fascinated with video SEO, YouTube SEO. And it's crazy how some people don't realize how easy it is to rank videos on Google and how to rank your videos on YouTube through just a few simple things. If you look up like live streaming expert right now, if you take a look at that, I created an event. I have a framework where you just add the keyword twice in the title, 3 times in the body, and in your thumbnail. And if it's like a long-term, it's kind of a long-term type of keyword, you'll rank for it. I think I'm number 1. If you check it out, it's live streaming expert. Check it out. It's one of those things that if you just do that, follow that step. I actually even have a video on ranking YouTube videos on Google and on YouTube, it's only about 17 minutes long. I break down like ranking factors and like just things you need to do to your file. Are you even familiar that you can actually right click? If you're on a PC, you can right click the file and there's something called properties and there's like some metadata on there that you can input all your keywords, your like descriptions and stuff like that. And that's all part of the algorithm within YouTube. that you can help you get your ranking.
I did not know that Google looks at the actual file of the video, because I always thought you added it in afterwards. But they do look at everything. They try to get all the information they can. That's very interesting.
Yeah, that's a knowledge bomb for you right there. You know, so we gotta get things going. I mean, that's one of those things where you just kind of, if you add that in there, there's a patent on metadata and metadata augmentation, how it grabs all this information. So whether it's any files, even images, one of the biggest things on image SEO is actually putting the metadata within the file itself. So if that's one like the EXIF data, putting that in there, right-clicking the file. If you're on a PC again, there's something called properties. You can put the title, you can put keywords, you can put like the publisher, links, all that good stuff.
I did not. I always knew that. I always knew that when I edited a photo in Photoshop and I saved it, and I would open up the file in, for example, Notepad, they would always put a little bit of information like this has been edited by Photoshop. Yeah. And I'm sure a lot of companies look at that when, you know, someone submits their, for example, their degree. If the file has edited by Photoshop in it, that person's probably going to get into a little bit of trouble. So it's interesting that Google looks at that information too to see what's going on.
Yeah, it's all about this whole metadata algorithm. It's like one of those things that's files, even PDFs. At the company I work for right now, it's like PDF optimization is something huge for us because, I mean, we put out a lot of data sheets and all these white papers and ebooks. So getting those ranked in Google is by, if you have Adobe Acrobat like Professional, there's a certain section there where you can optimize and put in all these metadata within the properties of the actual file.
Yeah, and I bet a lot of people don't even use what's available to them. They just kind of pass it on, just get the basics done, and then upload the files to Google.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's so much more you can do. I mean, you know, you can get all the basics and stuff like that. But I mean, hey, you know, if you're uploading a file, even, you know, if you think about it, a web page is a file. It's an HTML file, so that you're actually adding code, your own metadata on that. When you upload like a, you know, whether it's an image, like I was talking about, videos, PDFs, documents, all that good stuff.
So are you more of an on-site SEO guy, or are you more of a, like, you know, what Google works with the, you know, backlinks and stuff?
I do everything. I mean, I've been doing SEO for about over 15 years. I started creating websites for about over 20 years now. Back in 1997 is when I actually started making my first website. It was for a car show company called Good Guys. They do a bunch of hot rods and stuff like that. So I created their first website. And it's one of those things where I learned SEO through building websites. So it kind of, you know, grew onto me. Like, it's, you know, building websites came in 5 years before I started doing SEO. But hey, like, people were asking, how do you get traffic? And then you could see within, you know, your analytics, like, you know, Google is driving the most traffic. So you figure out, like, how can I optimize for Google? Then, you know, start searching all this stuff. I mean, back in those days, we didn't have YouTube videos. I had to, I was looking at SEObook.com is where I actually got most of my stuff, and all the forums, whether it was like, you know, the Warrior Forum and something called SitePoint back in the days. So it was something that I do everything. I do technical, I do on page, I do off page. It's one of those things where you have to, I've been in it long enough where I can specialize in all of it. Like, when I get a new client, I'll touch every part of it. I'll make sure they have a good foundation with their technical stuff. I'll make sure their content is optimized, and I'll make sure they create like a nice interlinking strategy, and also talk to their PR teams to get the backlinks within when they do press releases, when they talk to other companies on getting on websites. I mean, even for some companies where, like, if someone's using a product and if you have a PR team, the PR team can go ahead and reach out to that company. Like, hey, you know, we see you like holding up that product, you know, can you like give us a link back and stuff like that? I mean, it's just about just reaching out if you see your product out there. SEO in my career has been working with like every single team member, right? Like, because again, there's like the technical part, I work with the dev team. There's the content marketing part, you know, I work with my content team, and the PR part, all these things, and the social team. Like, you know, you get social signals when you want to get certain tweets out there. You want to get all the spiders crawling through all these different outlets to get your site ranking.
That's good. You brought up a good point. Back 15 years ago, I think Macromedia had Dreamweaver.
Yep. Yeah,
sure
did. That's what I was using.
Yeah, I built my first website with Dreamweaver, Adobe Fireworks, and Adobe Photoshop. It was like this weird, you know, trio of software. I made my first website with that, and it was really cool. I didn't get into SEO until 5 years later, but it's all very interesting how SEO has been changing over time. And
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Because I mean, even when you break back Macromedia, it makes me think about how my Flash sites I used to do, and then how I was building so many Flash sites, right?
Yeah.
And then to get those ranking, you had to do a little stuff that you're not supposed to do now. I mean, because you had the one file on your page, so you had to stuff all the keywords on the page. You have to put all these things to get that one page ranking. Because if you think about it, a Flash site was basically a one pager with just a file on there, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember we used to do some weird things like side scroll where the user sees this,
Mm-hmm.
but if you scroll to the left, there's a whole another page that
Yep.
just
Yep.
has a bunch of keyword stuffing and everything. That's what I used to do at like some of my first SEO jobs, was just do stuff like that. Now it's not like that anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because, even before I got into the corporate world, right? I mean, I was doing this for my own. I was an entrepreneur out of college. I was, nightclub promoter, content promoter. I was doing all these things where I was ranking for San Francisco nightlife and streetwear. I mean, the clothing brand I have is called Filthy Dripped, and then it was one of those. If you search streetwear at the time, it was we were popping up number one. So when streetwear first blew up, back in 2006. I mean, my brand was carried by every single store. I was in over 200 stores. And then, it's just being out there and be able to use the SEO to just get your brand, for a generic term, search streetwear. Other stores are oh, this guy's ranking number one. He must be a good brand. But, we were a small, a small company that me and my brother just started. And it was using that was something that we were able to expand our reach, globally.
That's great. I had a question.
Mm-hmm.
When you do your keyword research, how do you go about doing that, and how long do you think it takes for a page to rank on Google for that keyword?
When I do keyword research, it all depends on the competitors, right? First of all, you want to find your head term. You get your head term, you can go and put in Google and see all the related terms and see how it works that way, right? And then, you take away the top. The top pages on there and analyze those. So I kind of reverse engineer already from the start. It's not something oh, my client goes, oh, I want to rank number one for this. I'm really? Why? And then if you show them data oh, people are not even searching that, tell me one of your competitors, or tell me 2 or 3 of them. All right, these are the keywords that your competitors are ranking for, all together, and you're not. Now you need to get in there to figure it out. And you could use tools like SEMrush, Ahrefs, and then another part is if the company has PPC set up, Google AdWords, I always look and see what keywords, if you look at the search query report, and you can see how people are searching for them. And then you take that search query report and then you can optimize for those as well. Because you're seeing how people, the intent of what people are searching for. You can see these phrases in there, and then you can already determine okay, for your particular brand, these are how people are finding you. Let's make sure we optimize for those.
Absolutely. And going a little bit deeper, how do you look at bounce rate, and what do you do to improve conversions on the website?
All right, so with bounce rate, it's more something where you want to have a really rich web page. I mean, if you have text, people can scan it, whatever. But if you have a video on there, you have images, anything to interact and have the mouse scroll, there's something called I think I don't know if it's mouse flow or whatever, but if you have these heat mapping type of tracking things, you can see when you actually have images within between content, or even if you add videos, people stay on the page and they click on it. And the moment you click on the video or even something on there, your bounce rate reduces. You want to make sure you have a great interlinking strategy that you link out to other places of your website with a certain term that you want to even something. Creating great interlinking strategy will actually help you also reduce bounce rate. For something where improving conversions, it's something say CRO, conversion rate optimization, right? You want to make sure you have, depending on how, let's put it like this. You have a form. You want people to go to your form and convert. So you have to figure out okay, you can do some tweaks, change your copy or whatever, right? But think about it. Reverse engineer how they got to your website or how they got to your web page, that certain form. Look at the prior pages that they went to. Look at maybe the page right before they went to your form, maybe 2 pages down, and then drive traffic to those pages, because that way you're warming them up. Because if you drive someone to a form right away, you may turn them off. Oh, he just wants my information. But if you can figure out what page they came on your website before they hit that landing page, that means you were able to trigger and pull that away from them. It's like, oh, okay, I want to fill out the form now. So you find that referring page from your own website to your landing form, optimize that, do all your SEO, send traffic that way. And that way you can drive the right traffic to increase conversions.
That was good. You know, when you were talking, you actually gave me goosebumps because you're going so deep into psychology. It's like, you don't want to get them to go to the form, even though most people would think that. It's like, hey, get them to their form first. That way they don't bounce, but they're not ready to see the form yet. You got to look them up. So that's really smart. I'm sitting here taking notes. I didn't know that before. I never thought like that, but now
that's one thing that you should do. Like, even like if you don't even do SEO, just send even like just paid traffic to this page, because you know that, you know, it warmed them up. It warmed up to go to your contact me page, your, you know, sign up, you know, some requested demo page. So those are the pages that you want to really optimize for. And you can easily see this in your Google Analytics or any analytics you're using. Like, look at previous page, like, you know, from that your form, and you'll see those.
Yeah, absolutely. My next question would be, what other SEO tools do you use? Like, do you use any rank tracking? Do you use any other thing other than, you know, the heat maps and, well, that's more like conversion tracking tools, but like the Google Keyword Planner?
Yeah. So this is my tool set, let's say for the enterprise world, is something called Bright Edge. It's an enterprise SEO platform, content marketing platform. Everyone in my organization actually has access to it. It shows rankings. It shows how you should optimize your content. It shows like all the research stuff, like backlinks, you know, CPCs and search volume, all that good stuff. And even something where marketing insights. I mean, it goes really, really deep on marketing insights, because Bright actually has been collecting their own data, and they call it the data cube. They've been collecting this for about 10, 12 years. So they have their own data sets that we can actually play with. And, you know, you can research your competitors, same thing. Basically, it's like an Ahrefs or SEMrush on steroids, which those two I actually still use for my other clients. Like, when I get smaller clients, I tell them to sign up for an account on one of those, just because they can track their rankings. And either one's good. I mean, I think I find myself more on SEMrush lately, but for backlinks, I go to Ahrefs. And then, you know, even I'll dabble into Moz a little bit. I mean, I don't have like a paid account on there. I don't really, if my client has an account on there, I'll use it. But for the most part, I'll refer them to Ahrefs and SEMrush. And then the best tool out there already is Google, right? You can see a lot of things on there, like if you want to do some research. I mean, that's where you want to be, right? So you just kind of see what people are doing. You want to make sure you have put out the right content. If people are putting out lists types of content, I mean, if you're trying to rank against directories, maybe you should create a directory. You know, you have to take a look and see the search landscape on how it's going. And then one tool I use that is on content marketing is something called Page Optimizer Pro, POP for short. It's one of those things where it's by Kyle Roof, who's actually going to be on the SEO Video Show next week. You should make sure you check it out. It's like, he was the guy who was ranking things with lorem ipsum, you know, like gibberish. He was putting the keyword in certain places. He was proving that you can rank pages with nothing but putting the keywords in certain places and a certain amount of times. And his tool does that, and it's called Page Optimizer Pro.
Wow. That's amazing. I never thought about that before, but that's crazy.
Yeah. Like, Google changed like the terms of service on after he ranked that, and they ended up taking down his website. Like, someone snitched on him, because it was for a contest. It was an SEO contest. Yeah. And it was supposed to rank for something, right? And then so he submitted it, and then like he ended up, like, I think he won the contest, or he ended up getting ranking number 1. And then he goes, "Hey, look at the kicker." Everyone looked at the website like, "Holy what?" Like, it was,
it's like you can't even
gibberish.
read it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And so someone posted it on one of those sites, like Search Engine Journal or one of those sites.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, searching like one of those.
Or something.
Yeah. And Google saw it, and they ended up taking down his website. Not only that, they ended up taking down like all his websites. Like, they found his, so he got kind of hit. So he was pretty, so I mean, of course, you know, like, and then you see something on their terms of service that goes, ranking contents with that doesn't mean anything is against our term of service or whatever. So like, a rule was made up after he got, you know, caught with that thing. But I mean,
he made a rule. That's actually cool. Like, he made an algorithm change. It should be named after him.
Yeah, no, it was so cool. So I mean, that guy I learned a lot from. I consider him one of my SEO mentors, Kyle Roof. You could Google him. You can see a lot of YouTube videos. He's going to be on my show next week, so you should definitely check it out.
Be sure to check out the next week's episode.
Yep, definitely. SEO Video Show. Just Google it.
We're gonna move into the lightning round. I'm just gonna ask you a couple questions and just tell me the first thing that pops up out of your head.
You bet.
What are some of the pain points of doing SEO?
Getting people's buy-ins. I mean, when you work at a large company, you have to sell all the time. Like I'm constantly selling things. Like I'll tell you this, I've been working at a company and I've been there for over 2 years. And you know what? It took me 2 years to get them to write what is content. Really, like they're like, we don't want to talk about basic stuff. I'm like, you know, we are a enterprise company, we are thought leaders, but at the same time, it's like that's, you know, Google wants this. People go to Google to search things to educate themselves, right? So it's like, and being able to show them that was a bit of a challenge.
And the second question is, for someone starting off SEO, what's one good piece of advice you would give them?
One good piece of advice of starting off with SEO is basically getting your hands dirty. I mean, you saw like we started with Dreamweaver, we started with Adobe PageMill, whatever one of those. If you don't build a website, you'll never know what to do. You need to like learn and see like a cause and effect type of thing. Oh, if I add this, let's see what happens. So getting your hands dirty right away, getting into the weeds of things. And if you know what, if you can't build websites or you don't have your hosting thing, use like Medium, use Google Sites. You know, these are all free sites that you can also play with. I mean, I'll tell you this, like here's a quick story on how I use the blog to get something quickly ranking. When I applied for this job, for this enterprise job, I wanted to show something fun and how I can rank something like really quickly. So I said, I took the job description. It was said search marketing global lead. So I took that's the keyword, right? That's the job description. The job title. I put that on my blog. I copied and pasted the description and optimized it like because the job descriptions just have regular text. They didn't have any like headers and stuff like that and images. I optimized the exact same content, like, totally copied it. I didn't change anything. I maybe just changed the formatting. Dude, I started ranking above the actual job description.
Wow.
When I was getting interviewed. And so I said, hey, check this out. Just for fun, I want you to go ahead and Google the position that I'm applying for. So they go, search marketing global lead. They're like, is that your website? I'm like, that's my blog.
That's a good tactic. It's like you show them, your stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's the basic, like one of the kind of my closer. Like, I was already like interviewing with the VP and everything like that. And I was like, hey, just for fun, why don't you go ahead and search, this search marketing global lead. I think I'm still number 1 right now. If you search it, search marketing global lead, and the job description, the original job description, I just copied and pasted, posted in there. I just made sure I had H2s. I added some bold keywords, added a little more. You figured out how many more times I have to add it in there, but for the most part, the content is exactly the same.
That's amazing. Well, Paul, if someone from our audience wants to get in touch with you, what's the best way they can do that?
I'm on LinkedIn a lot, as you heard earlier. I mean, it's linkedin.com/in/Paul Andre, PAULANDRE. You can email me at dre@seo.video. Check out my show, SEO Video Show. Google it if you want. I'm obviously going to be number 1. I better be if I have a show on it, SEO Video Show. And I mean, on Twitter. But for the most part, LinkedIn is the best place. Add me on there. I interact with you. I engage with your posts. I read everyone's posts. I try to like comment on it. And that's where I kind of find my inspiration for the show to get like, oh, that's actually some good information. Let me go pull that and put it live on the show.
So you're telling me you own SEO.video, the domain?
Oh yeah, I own that. Dre.me. That's for like so Dre.me goes to my digital agency. So I call my digital agency Dream Digital, and I spell Dream with DRE.me. There's so many other like .coms. I was a big domain buyer like back in the days. I own like topnotches.com. What is the one? There's one of these things. There's a bunch of domains where I bought and sold them a lot. I mean, I'll buy a bunch when they first come up, and then I'll just like just.
So you're sitting on gold right now, probably.
Probably. I mean, there's a bunch. I have at least. I mean, I know there's a lot more people that have it, but I mean, hey, I know some people have a business on it, but I mean, like just a regular person owning about 300-400 domains. It's. I mean, I'd say it's a little more than a hobby.
Yeah, it's a little, and it's expensive too, I bet, because you got to renew them every year, right?
Exactly.
Years, yeah.
But the trick is like, hey, these are marketing domains. So, and you run a marketing company, that's a marketing expense.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Paul, it was great having you on the show.
Sure, Mike. Yeah, let me know. I mean, what's up to everyone on your show? I'm looking forward to watching the episode.
Well, guys, I hope you've enjoyed that episode. please be sure to check out SEOnerd.com. SEOnerd.com is online SEO software and conversion tracking software that can help your website generate more revenue.